Should we talk about some of the problems of the world? Tavistock up there at the top. You did have an update of
Uh,
that. If anyone doesn't know, Tavistock
yeah.
is basically,
Um,
well, explain what Tavistock is and then tell us the updates.
the Tavistock is a gender identity clinic in the UK. There's one
Yeah.
in London and one in Leeds. And what a gender identity clinic is somewhere that trans people go to be given treatment. For some, that
Mhm.
might just be therapy if they don't want to physically transition. For some, it might be family counselling. And for some, it might be hormone blockers and hormones.
Yeah.
Uh, and the Tavistock is the under 18s clinic.
Yeah.
And what the under 18s clinic do is that they see kids. For younger kids, they do like play therapy and like give them toys and be like, explain which
Yeah.
you feel like a
Yeah.
action man and a Barbie, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And they work with the families and stuff. They work with the families to ensure that the child is supported.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. All very good
even
things.
because no matter what the outcome is, whether the child is trans or just experimenting with their identity, they
Mhm.
deserve to be supported by their family.
Yeah, of course.
So whatever happens,
Of
they will
course.
work
Yeah.
with the families. Um, this link isn't working, which is wonderful.
That's a good start.
Um, but
Yeah, it's redirecting us
uh,
somewhere.
a couple of months back, the Tavistock was taken to court by someone who detransitioned, whose name I'm not mentioning because they want that. They want the publicity.
Mhm.
She took them to court saying that the Tavistock basically forced her into transition and forced her
Right.
to have blockers and then move on to hormones when she was over 18. The under 18s clinics will never administer hormones or surgery because there's very adult choices, and those adult choices are best left to the over 18s clinic.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course.
Um, so this person took the Tavistock to court and attempted to sue them for because she blamed her her I don't know how to put it her
Mm,
uh, her
unwillingness
unfortunate
to.
decisions
Yeah.
in terms of transitioning when she was a teenager and a
Yeah.
young adult on the Tavistock,
Right.
which isn't right because the Tavistock check that you are trans before giving you any treatment, obviously, and so do the adult clinics. And there is right and wrong things to say within these appointments, and trans people do talk to each other about what the right and wrong things to say is, because that's what we do,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So
And
there was
uh,
an update recently about
and
it, wasn't
recently, the update is that the Tavistock has been rated inadequate
there?
because
Right. What does that mean for that building?
that that means for the service that they're inadequate, that their waiting times are too long, and they're not giving the service users what they need.
Right. Yeah.
And they've been criticised this week because of the long delays, high caseloads, and poor leadership. And this trans people are like, tell us something we don't know. Because the waiting list for the Tavistock from referral from your GP to being
Yeah.
seen, that I think it's upwards of 18 months.
Yeah. It says that it's
Most
years here in this article I'm reading.
most of them are 24 to 30 months, and 24 months is 2 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Average estimate of
and
18 months.
it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh,
And
definitely.
we're not sure what this inadequate rating will mean. I doubt it will change because trans
Well,
healthcare has always been this bad. Like, it's
yeah.
not a new thing. They've been rated inadequate before
I mean,
and
it's
done
pretty.
nothing.
it's good that they've had this rating to say these like a lawful rating to say that they are not providing the correct amount of, like, people are not being seen fast enough. But it's also
Yeah.
they've now been blocked from being able to treat people who is it under
Uh,
16-year-olds or
they
16-year-olds?
they under 16-year-olds. They can treat them. They can give them therapy
Yeah,
and counselling and family therapy, but they're now not allowed to give the kids hormone blockers,
yeah, which is
which
a big
which
part
is
of it
if
is being able to get them
with
early as well.
yeah, early intervention is the
Saves
key to
lives.
fixing any issues. The same with mental health issues. The the same with like throat cancer, for example. The earlier you catch anything, the easier it is to treat,
Oh
especially with
yes, yeah.
mental health issues, especially with trans stuff, because putting a child through a puberty that they do not want can be incredibly traumatic.
Yeah, yeah, because you have
And
to deal with all of those conflicting things whilst simultaneously feeling like you're trapped inside your own body.
and in a
I
way, I'm quite
imagine.
lucky that I came out at 19 because I didn't experience any of that going through puberty. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't. And yeah, inspectors found there were more than 4,600 young people on the gender identity
Which is
clinic waiting list.
insane when you think
Some
about it.
waiting
Like,
over
think
2 years
about a
for their
room
appointment,
filled with 4,600 people. That's
which
not right.
something I have been thinking is that if you say that to anyone that isn't aware of trans healthcare, they're like, "Oh, that's disgusting." But I look at that and I think actually 18 months isn't that bad compared to some of the adult services.
Yeah,
But
because what are you? What you've been?
but
Your this is this
I
isn't this your second time being told that you have to wait 3 years?
I was 4 years. No, I was 3.5 years until I got my first appointment. It will be another 3.5 years until I get my second appointment. Which is to tell me something I already know. I already know that I've got gender dysphoria. I've been on testosterone for 4 years. I, they're wasting their own time and they're wasting their own money. They could have referred the people who are already on hormones on for surgery in their first appointment and saved a lot of stress, a lot of hassle, and a lot of money.
And
But
I think
that's
so. I
adult
think this
services.
comment I saw on the Reddit article that you've linked there. The best one to, I think, summarize up this story is I've been saying it for years. Hormones good, Tavistock bad.
Yeah,
And I think that just
like
about sums up the
like
long and short of it, really.
like the issue is how they how they approach the children. Let's put it that way, because I have been with a friend and sat in on one of his Tavistock appointments because sometimes they're like, "Oh, you need to bring people with you to prove that you're trans." Like they need to talk to other people in your life to prove that you are trans.
Mm.
Apparently, so I
And
went
which
along
is
to this
something
appointment.
I don't get is
So
why you have to prove your identity. Short of, going traveling somewhere and needing your passport to prove who you are. I get that, but beyond that, what who what why do I why would anyone have to prove to another person that they are who they say they are? And
yeah,
I
welcome to
don't
being trans.
understand that
Uh,
way of thinking at all.
yeah, but you have to take other people to prove that you're trans, pretty much, because
Yeah.
I still don't get it, and
No, neither
yeah.
do I.
So I've sat in on one of these appointments with my friend, and he was 17 at the time, so too old to be being seen at the service.
Yeah.
But they still wasted their time and his time seeing him. Um, and they don't just ask you if you're trans, they grill you. They make you And the adult services are exactly the same, actually. The appointment I went to a year last November, it would have been.
Yeah.
I left it, came home, and felt genuinely suicidal
I was
because
there for that one.
because they question you in a way
Yeah.
that makes you doubt your own identity. And
It
doubting
seemed like,
and
as an outsider who watched you and you came back from that appointment, that you were questioning your very existence on this earth. And I just don't
yeah,
think anyone
like
has trans rights are taken to court and debated on all the fucking time, and yet people feel like they have the right to make someone else feel like they're not real, that they don't actually exist,
exactly.
which in turn
Yeah.
results in suicide rates spiking for young trans people. And I
And
just don't understand why this sort of double standard exists here.
the worst part of it is that there's a simple way to make trans healthcare in the UK better.
Yeah, go
And
on.
that isn't more funding, although more funding would help. That isn't
Oh,
less
of
long
course.
waiting lists, again, or that would help. That
Yeah,
is employ trans people. Get trans people on the reception desk. Get trans people seeing the children or the adults. Get trans therapists in. I've got friends that are therapists who are
yeah,
transgender themselves. I've got friends who would happily work on a reception desk who are trans themselves. We exist and we are in these job roles. They're
yeah,
just
yeah,
too lazy to find us,
yeah,
basically. And that would be the simplest and the easiest way to make trans healthcare better. Is
yeah,
just listen to trans people, employ trans people, and don't have anybody in that building who is cis. Because no offence to cis people. Like, I know a lot of cis people are lovely, but cis doctors just don't understand. Like, I
yeah.
have never had a cis
It's hard to
doctor.
treat something when you can't put yourself in that person's shoes.
Like,
So
I have
anyway,
never
to
had a
speak,
cis...
go on.
Like, I have never had a cis doctor who understands what I mean when I say gender dysphoria, because it's not something that you can understand yourself
Mm,
unless you've
yeah,
been through it. You can read and you can inform yourself, but you can't
but
fully
information is
understand.
not the same as understanding.